I just want to start with a story that has broken overnight. One migrant has died, another critically injured. There was an incident on the English Channel last night and a dramatic rescue operation went into force. And the details are that the French Coast Guard involved in this one.
Yeah, the French Coast Guard apparently alerted just after 1 a.m. to reports that a migrant boat was sinking about 5 miles off Dunkirk. So let's join our Home and Security editor, Mark White, who's on the line with the very latest. Good morning, Mark. What can you tell us?
Well, more than 7 hours after those rescue craft got into the water in the English Channel, about 5 miles off the coast of Dunkirk, that search and rescue operation is still underway. Some 66 people were pulled from this migrant boat around about 1 a.m. this morning. One of those was taken on board a rescue craft. There was resuscitation efforts for some time to try to save the life of this migrant, but they succumbed to their injuries and were declared dead on board this rescue vessel. Another migrant was taken to hospital in Calais, and the latest report that we have today is that they are in a critical condition, a life-threatening condition at this moment. The other people that were rescued from this migrant boat have been treated for the effects of the cold immersion in the cold English Channel for some time. Now, the rescue services were called to reports that this migrant boat was sinking. When they got there, they found that one side of the vessel, remember these vessels are effectively two big long inner tubes, and the migrants sit on either side of these inner tubes. One of the inner tubes was completely deflated, and that had tossed dozens of people into the English Channel, and then it began a desperate operation by the French rescue services along with the UK Coast Guard helicopter to get those people rescued and on board ships in the area. Now, what we're told at this hour is that rescue operation, the search activity at least, is continuing, because although 66 people have been recovered, they don't know that was the final tally on board this small migrant boat, so there may be others that are still unaccounted for at this time. And as I speak to you now, our producer in Kent is telling me that another 2 migrant boats have just set off from the French coast trying to make it to the UK. And they're trying to make it to the UK in very difficult conditions. 12-knot winds blowing from the northwest, which has a tendency to try to push the boats back towards the beaches of France and churns up the waves. And that's why you can see these boats puncturing or deflating. They take risks at this time of the year. This is what the people smugglers do. They've had more than a week where the weather conditions were too bad and they were unable to get their boats off the shore. So when you get the weather just about passable, they start pushing these boats out, but in very difficult conditions, and this could be the net result.
Mark, very, very briefly, we're just out of time, but just to ask you, do the migrants, do the passengers on board these boats ever have any say, no, we'll not cross, or are they booked on board a crossing and they have to keep it?
I think, it's very difficult for them, Eamon, because they're not experts in sea and weather conditions. They might be concerned themselves, but they paid a lot of money, £2,000 or £3,000 to get on board the boat. It's the culmination of their journey. I think very few, if any, migrants ever say at the final launch point, no, I don't want to go on board. They do it. They realise they're taking a risk. We had a tragedy just last month where a man and a woman drowned when their migrant boat got into difficulty. We're at that time of the year, unfortunately, where, as I say, the weather windows are few and far between. When they do open up, the people smugglers take the risk.
Right, Mark, got to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed. So bad news.
So the attempts and the tragedies just go on, don't they?